Dr. Jones here at Winthrop University. I thought I'd spend a little time talking with you about the flipped classroom. Most of you probably realize that a flipped classroom is when you put all of your chairs on the ceiling. No, that's not what it is at all. You've probably heard the term flipped classroom before. What a flipped classroom is it's when we reverse the order of what we do things. So traditionally, students come to class and they're instructed. They watch the teacher, they listen to the teacher, and then they go home and they practice doing homework. And so for many people, it is sort of the idea of sort of switching when you do your lectures and when you do your homework. And there's a lot of truth to that, but it can also be a little more complicated than that as well. If you're going to flip a classroom, here's some things you need to keep in mind. It's not just about recording your lectures and allowing people to watch them outside of class. What you need is you need an instructional strategy. Because if you're going to have people watch videos and listen to lectures outside of class, then they're going to need to do something when they get to class, and it can't be listening to lectures and listening to you say the same thing that you said online when they weren't in class. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to build this whole idea of active learning. We want people in classrooms to be doing things, to be building, to be creating, to be interacting, and not simply listening to what's going on. The second thing you're going to need is an understanding of your audience. What do they have available for technology? Clearly, if people don't have internet access at home, if everybody doesn't have internet access at home, it could limit what you do. But many people have been very creative in that. Rather than doing videos, some people have done audio podcasts, and they have put those on CDs, and they have sent them home with people because most people do have access to a CD player. And I have even known teachers who have collected used Walkman, portable CD players, because a lot of people don't use them now because they have MP3 players. So many people have collected those and they've just distributed those to their students. So there is the ability to do this even if people don't have internet access. You have to be a little creative, you have to think about it, but it is possible to do that. The other thing you're going to need is the correct tools. And essentially, for the content that you're going to create, you're going to need something to create to create content for people to listen to or watch outside of class. You're going to need some way to host it, meaning somewhere where it's going to live online or on a CD, and then some way to distribute it. And we want to talk a little bit about those things today. Now, Robert Gagne said that in any successful instructional occurrence that there are 9 unique, distinct things that happen. So in successful instruction, these 9 things have to happen. Now, Gagne did not say that these things have to happen in order, but he did say that these things do have to happen, and sometimes they happen because we plan for them explicitly, and sometimes they happen simply because they happen naturally within a class. But what I want you to see is that the fourth event, presenting information, that's a single event. What many people think of when they think about teaching is that they think that teaching is telling. That they think that what you're doing right now, listening to me, looking at an image, that's what teaching is all about. But we know, as professional educators, nothing could be further from the truth. That the 5, 6, and 7, that providing guidance, letting people practice, a listening performance, giving them the opportunity to try something in class, and to fail occasionally is very important. And then providing them feedback. So it's this idea of letting people practice, get feedback, fail, and make changes before we actually do the actual assessment that's talked about in event 8 that's listed here. Now I point that out because one of the nice things about flipping your classroom from a content creation side is that once you create it, you can use it over and over again. So if there is content that you present on a regular basis, Having it in a video file that somebody can see and watch over and over again means that you don't have to keep repeating it, which means you get to take advantage of one of the strengths of technology, which is the idea that it can be that patient tutor, that people can watch it again, they can rewind, they can listen, they can see it as many times as they need to. So if you're going to make your own, it's easy enough to do. I'm using right now a tool called Screencast-O-Matic, available at screencast-o-matic.com, which actually sounds like a product you might buy on late night TV. Screener is another free one that's available online. Cam Studio is another one that's free and available online. There are a variety of different places that you can go and different tools that you can use. It doesn't really matter which one you use. What I do want you to know is that there are a variety of them out there. So you can create your own, and that's great. You should. I had a professor who once said that if a teacher can walk into class with 5 different unique examples of a difficult concept, that anybody can learn that difficult concept. But the problem is that most people don't have 5 different unique examples. Most people have one. And if people don't understand our one example, we just repeat it, but louder and slower. I say that to you because you don't have to simply create your own. You can find others. There's a website that's available here that lists what are called open educational resources. You're probably familiar with Khan Academy and iTunes U. YouTube is a place that is filled with examples that you can find, so you don't have to necessarily build all of them yourself. You can find them in other places and reuse them, and it's a great thing when you can find content instead of having to create it yourself. But our goal is that when people show up for class, they're doing things, that it's active learning, that they're going to watch these examples outside of class, and then they're going to come to class and do things. And that's where you have to be very creative as an educator and do those things that will allow people to get actively engaged so that you can let them practice, let them fail, give them feedback, and let them get better. As we think about this moving forward, as you get ready to write your white paper on a topic related to one-to-one computing in the flipped classroom, I want you to think about sort of these 4 different areas. In the upper left-hand side, content creation tools. Here are some examples of things that you can do, and we're going to work with 3 of them in here: Screencast-O-Matic, PhotoStory, and Audacity, but there are lots of other ones. So you might choose to explore some of these content creation tools. The other thing is you're going to need content hosting tools. Places like YouTube, Schoology, Vimeo, Edmodo are all places that you can put information so that people can access it later on. You may choose to focus on something like that. But you're also going to need assessment tools. So we've taken a look at Poll Everywhere, which can be used as an assessment tool, but there are others as well. And then finally, what are some things that aren't listed here that we can use to sort of advance the field and advance what we know about the use of these technologies for one-to-one computing in the flipped classroom? Now, moving forward, when we think about flipping a classroom, we want to think about how we use these tools so that we can have students working actively on content and not just watching, but actually doing. This is Dr. Jones, and I'll see you online.